Hello everyone,
This is Daniela,
I'm Lorena.
and welcome to another episode.
Which episode is it?
Today's episode, number 10.
Do we have someone special join us today?
Yes, I'm so excited to introduce you to today's guest. His name is Go Eat.
Wait, I think you're trying to say...
I know. I tried so hard learning his name, and I don't know, I just couldn't.
Of course, it's the Rhodes intro. So, Gota, right?
He's actually a really wise man. Just giving a general background information about him, he's a poet, a novelist, a philosopher of nature, and a diplomat. He has also done few things in the translation field. That man does a lot of things.
He was actually born on August 28, 1749, died March 22, 1832, 82 years old, because of a heart attack. I want to add something else. He was actually the most famous German poet. Most of his works were influenced by women and relationships in his life.
He was also a really big fan of art. He drew throughout his life, and he was really interested in all fields of knowledge, from politics to biology and history. He was German, and it's important to clarify that. He was considered as one of the most important novel writers in Germany.
But well, let's talk about what everyone is excited about.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh, thank you so much, dear girls, for having me here today. It's such a pleasure for me. I'm here in this podcast to talk a little bit with you and, of course, answer all of your questions. I think I have to apologize with you and all of your audience because I can't turn on a camera since here in Germany the internet it's not as good as Colombian's one, I guess.
yes, thank you so much for being here. Actually, we got some questions from some translation students from the University of Quindío, and they were actually really excited about you coming here and sharing with us everything you know about translation and even about you, what you have done so far. And we're going to start now with the first question, so let's go.
Normadia says, "Hey Gota, I admire you so much. Can you tell us something about you or something important you did in the translation field?"
Oh, sure, dear Norma. I am a translator, a writer, and a translation theorist. Perhaps the work I have done on my books has helped make translation, right? I think especially in Germany, that is one of the richest jobs in the world in the field of translation studies. I also divided translation into three kinds. The first kind of translation familiarizes us with a foreign country on our own terms. And the second kind of translation, one seeks to project oneself into the circumstances of a foreign country, but in fact only appropriates the foreign meaning and then replaces it with one's own. And finally, the third kind of translation, one seeks to make the translation identical with the original, so that one will no longer be in the stead but in the place of the other.
I personally find the way in which you divide the translation very interesting. When you say that translation familiarizes with a foreign country, I consider that it refers to the culture and how we can understand it from translation perspective. We can get closer to another's country culture.
Of course, Lorena. Culture plays a very important role in translation. It also brings us closer to another different culture and at the same time brings that culture closer to ours.
I personally support and liked the third division. I actually love it because it's like trying to make the translation as identical to the original text and kind of smooth. And also the second one of projecting one in the circumstances of the foreign country. I don't know, it's like appropriating something and in a certain way replacing it with one's own. Understanding their culture. Why do they say something? And what will be the meaning in our culture? It's like appropriating a word that is not yours, taking it as if it were yours, and doing it in such a clear and respectful way that the translation turns out to be really good.
It is really a very interesting perspective when you look at those three divisions from a translation point of view, because if I translated short stuff, these three aspects help me a lot.
We have another question. Camilo Naranjo says, not to be rude, but it is culture really one of the most important aspects in translation? I would say is linguistics.
Is it really important to you? I mean, culture. Are you that passionate about it?
I mean, of course, ladies. As you can see, I'm a person who travels a lot, so it gave me the knowledge and the experience to understand that not every place had the same customs or ideas, and words and meaning. So
I have to say something, and I apologize in advance, like man. I agree with him. I also feel linguistics aspects are more important. Like if you don't even know the sentences structure or grammar, culture will be useless, you know? You just search what is meaning of this word in French culture and that's it. You got it, girl.
No, 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 no. I don't agree with you. I mean, it's the same thing. I could just look on internet for grammar and phonetic aspects and how to translate a sentence. Even on Google I can make that. But it doesn't really make me a translator, since you have to get the knowledge and experience things by yourself. It ain't that easy as you make it seem, right? I would say both of them are important. You can know the linguistic aspects, but if you don't know how to translate something to another person to understand it in their language, you are not doing anything.
I will say culture it's not more important than linguistics. Both of them have the same spot, I think. However, the reason why I emphasize that much on is because of my life experience, as Daniela explained. You need to understand the other person's culture in order to make a proper translation. How will you explain something translate if you don't understand the reasons that go beyond those words or sentences?
Okay, got it. Kinda changing my mind now.
We have another question from Jenny Gilead from Twitter. She asks, what do you consider important in translation?
I consider important aspects such as culture and other three concepts: kind, approach, and epoch, but more emphasize on epoch. And this reminds me a lot of the retranslation, the appearance among us of Germanized foreigners like Aristotle, Tasso, Shakespeare, and Calderon, even twice and three times over. To me, translation it's not only taking out the meaning of the original text, it is the process of conveying the rhetoric, wording styles, and reading elements in the text at the same time. The free prose adaptation, which conveys the spirit but has to alter style, structure, grammar, and idiom of the original, only as the first reading help, and as I say, both things are very important.
It's so funny because we were talking about it yesterday, right, Lori?
Yeah, I mean, concepts change, they are not the same, and with the pass of time, words disappear, words appear, words change meaning, so you really have to take that into account when you're translating. So, sadly, the interview is over, but we are so thankful you came. I admire the fact that you translated from English, Italian, French, Latin, and Asian Greek. You're such a genius!
I mean, I used to be from the middle class, so it was pretty common to know Latin and ancient Greek.
It was so amazing the number of languages you learned because, of course, it opened like a door where you could just translate everything. I mean, even if you didn't translate a whole book, you did translate short passages. Plus, I want to add something before you go. We found out that you have an institute. Sorry for the pronunciation, I don't know if it's okay. The Go Eat Institute, which promotes the translation of books in German in the areas of fiction, children's and young adults literature, and non-fiction internationally.
Yes, it's a way in which we allow access to German language literature and promote cultural exchange. In addition, my institute offers information on web portals and in publications about outstanding developments in the German book market, as well as translation from German published previously. Many young people want to know what I did in translation file and the relationship between language, translation, and keeping the artistic style, still incorporating culture on it.
That's incredible. Thank you very much, Coda, for having been with us today. It has been a pleasure to have you here, and I think we learned too much.
Well, ladies and audience, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here today. Goodbye.
So, Lori, what do you think?
I really like him. The reason why I told you let's invite him is because I have read some of his books like Faust and Poetry and Truth, some of the short passages he translated, and I like them.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I heard about him was with the color theory, that he kind of studied how we perceive colors and that this perception can generate in us like moods. For example, some colors can generate happiness, others sadness, other fears. It's just like so great.
Plus, he is one of the best commentators on theory of translation that has been published in Germany.
Plus, he talks about culture.
You and your culture.
Yeah, and the reason why is because I also read one of his articles that was like the reader has to get familiar with the target culture in their own terms. I don't know, I'm really happy with today's episode. I hope the audience liked it as well.
And I think that's all for today.
See ya tomorrow
with another podcast.